Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with allthingsbbq.com, and this is bacon wrapped pork tenderloin medallions. Well, pork tenderloin is a fantastic cut of pork. It's lean, it's flavorful, and with a little bit of care and attention, can be incredibly juicy and delicious. Today we're doing a fairly simple cook, taking the whole pork tenderloin, breaking it down into butterflied medallions. We'll wrap some bacon around the outside and cook it on the grill. Now today we're cooking on the Yoder Smoker's YS640S pellet grill. We're gonna start with a little par cook on our bacon because we wanna use these nice thick pieces of bacon. They just won't cook in a grilling time period once they're wrapped around the outside of these medallions. So we're gonna start at 425 degrees, throw these on the second shelf just so they can start to render down, and before they start to get crispy, we'll pull them off to wrap around the pork tenderloin. Now while that bacon's rendering down, we're gonna do the trimming on our pork tenderloin, cut them into these butterflied medallions and get them into some marinade. So here we have our pork tenderloin. This is a Duroc pork tenderloin from Creekstone Farms. They've cleaned it up pretty nice already. The only thing I really wanna do is make sure that we get off some of this excessive silver skin right here, because that stuff just doesn't really break down. It's not very pleasant to eat on. So I'm just gonna slip my knife right underneath there, cut a little tab, and then go back the other direction, taking off just as little meat as possible on the underside of that silver skin. And long, smooth cuts are the easiest way to get there. Otherwise you start kind of just sawing at it, which, look, honestly, it's gonna be fine. Nobody's gonna really notice, especially once it's wrapped in bacon. Now the surface stuff, don't really care about that as much. That'll kind of break down during the cook. So that's really all that I'm concerned about. We got most of that silver skin off of there. So now I'm just gonna kind of square off the end here. We're gonna slice these into our butterflied medallions. And what you wanna think about is just like about the width of that bacon. You're gonna double that. So we're gonna go, a good like 3-4 inches like that. And then right in the middle, we're gonna come down almost all the way through, pop that open, and there is your double cut medallion. Bacon wraps right around the outside. And just because of the nature of, how these mussels grow, you can count on having some smaller medallions out of the ends and a larger one out of the center. So you got, your Papa Bear, Mama Bear, Baby Bear. Let's do one more. So we've got our medallions cut. We've got a couple little extra pieces here. These little end pieces. You don't have to throw these away. I mean, you can cook them. The other thing is you can take these end pieces and we can actually smash these together. Once we get the bacon wrapped around the outside of them, you've got one more medallion. The other thing that sometimes I'll do with these little pieces is just smash them down. And now if I got a smaller piece in the middle, I'll just sandwich that in there. That way we're not wasting it, and it kind of beefs up that smaller portion. I mentioned we're gonna do a little marinade today. We're keeping it really simple. We're using the Sweetwater Spice smoked apple spice marinade. It's an apple juice marinade with some chili flavors in it, even a little bit of cinnamon. Goes really great with pork, but you could do this with just about anything. Just apple juice, some apple cider vinegar in there, a little bit of seasoning. You could use a basic brine. You've got all kinds of options, but we're gonna keep it really easy today. So this is a concentrate. It's sort of a brine and marinade at the same time because it uses both salt and acid. It only requires 1 part of the actual brine concentrate to 5 parts of water, which kind of stretches it, which is nice. We're just gonna throw all of this into our briner bucket. We put just a little bit down, then we're gonna get all of these medallions in here. Fully submerged. We'll keep those locked down. And then we'll just let these soak for about half an hour or so. Until that bacon comes off and cools off a little bit, we'll be ready to pull these out. Well, it's been about 30 minutes now. You can see that our bacon is still not quite brown, but it is rendered now. So this is what we're going for. We want to make sure that we can bite through it, it's actually cooked, but not so stiff at this point that we can't wrap it around the pork tenderloin. While we're at it, we're going to take out the top shelf and crank up the heat. We'll aim for 475. I'm giving the bacon about 5 minutes to cool down now. We're gonna pull that pork tenderloin out of the marinade and get them wrapped up. That's our makeshift medallion right there. This has been a good amount of time to soak these. Probably about, I'm gonna say it's been 30 to 40 minutes. Because I can feel that the meat's already starting to kind of firm up a little bit from that salt, but it's not so far that it's really started to like chemically cook it or anything. So we just want to get some of this excess moisture off of the surface here. And then we're going to take our strips of bacon here, par cooked, wrap those around just as far as they will go. If they don't meet all the way, that's fine. So we can toothpick these together. Right here. Right here. And now before we get these seasoned up, I'm going to do an optional step here that just kind of, it makes these a little bit easier to turn. We're going to run a skewer through similar sized medallions. That way you've just got to pick it up once and flip it. It's totally up to you if you want to do this. You can absolutely just cook these on their own, flip them on their own. We're not reinventing the wheel here, we're just trying to make it a little bit easier. Make sure to space those out a little bit though, so you can continue to get some crisp on the bacon. So one last thing before we hit the grill, we're gonna do a little bit of barbecue rub right on the surface here, using the Our Butts Are Smoking Ozark heat. A little salty, touch of sweet. A little bit of chili pepper, but don't let that heat in the name fool you. It's not a spicy rub by any means. All right, that's it. Let's go to the grill. So we're gonna go right over the direct flame here. Get some nice grill marks on here. Start to get this thing cooking through. We're gonna close the lid for now. We'll let these cook away for just a little bit before we flip them. Oh yeah, those are looking good. Great color on there. Not just the grill marks, but all that browning happening in between as well. Coming off these aluminum slots right in between. Catches that grease, pops it right back up into the food. Won't be much longer now. We're gonna aim for an internal temperature of about 140 on these. Just creeping up close to that 140 mark. If you want a little bit more brown on your bacon around the edges, you can stand them up on the ends to do that. All right guys, we're creeping right up on 140 on all of these right now. Looking for that coldest spot. A couple degrees shy is gonna be just fine. Let's go ahead and pull these off. All right, if you're a sauce person, and typically I'm not, but if you are, I think for a barbecue sauce, something kind of tangy is a great way to go with this particular recipe we're doing today. So this Kozlik's maple whiskey barbecue sauce has a great mustard tang to it because that's what Kozlik's does. And that bit of tang should balance nicely with all the other flavors that we have going on here. That's about the dead center of that. And look at that, you can see all that moisture that's still in there. Oh yeah. And that's just getting that off at the right temperature. Don't go really want to go any higher than 140 on that. Let's get a little bite of that with some of the bacon. Wow. We really packed the flavor into this one. It's awesome because I'm really noticing that marinade that we use. Getting the chili, a little bit of spice to it. And by spice, I mean like just a touch of cinnamon. It's just a little bit warm. It's so juicy though. And that's what happens when you put that extra effort in, that little bit of extra time. I mean, this is still a simple recipe with a couple extra steps that have made it go from just being a good recipe to something you want to cook all the time. And for such a lean piece of meat, this has so much juice and so much flavor. And of course, that crisp bacon on the outside, that always sets things over the top. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out allthingsbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoyed the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to allthingsbbq.com/thesauce. All Things Barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.